The majority of businessmen would tell you that every success is preceded by a number of failures. Sean Combs is hardly an exception. The 47-year-old New Yorker, also known as Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, or Diddy, has amassed an estimated $820 million in net worth as a result of his achievements in fashion, film, television, liquor branding, and of course, music. Yet, as detailed as in the recent documentary Can't Stop, Won't Stop, A Bad Boy Tale, his first attempt at making quick money was drug dealing while a student at Howard University in Washington, D.C. After exposing Alicia Keys, the music industry isn't ready for a huge showdown. In a prolonged video, Wright has set her sights on Diddy and is not holding back as she describes how he abuses his position of authority to make his subordinates perform for him. She says you were a victim and then you became a victimizer, and that's what you chose. Wright stated that the music executive had hired an industry lawyer who had previously dealt with a bad boy in 2003. The talented vocalist made bombshell accusations against the music executive, pledging to reveal the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When she went to Diddy's office to get approval for some paperwork, she saw singer and actor Christopher Williams performing fellatio on Puff. The door wasn't locked, so she didn't hesitate to just walk in, and when she did, she saw Christopher Williams performing fellatio on Puff. This lawyer told her an unsettling story about her time at the label. Apparently, Diddy had a meeting with Williams about a demo deal. She responded, "Oh no, I'm not going to tell anyone," alleging that the man had asked her if she planned to tell anyone and threatened to ruin her life if she did. "You chased that woman out of your offices because she saw you for who you are, and then you threatened to ruin her life if she ever told anyone," she said. Jaguar then went off at Diddy, accusing him of using his powers in order to get Christopher Williams to perform fellatio for him in order to acquire a demo deal. Diddy's head is being held in the jaws of a jaguar as if that were actually the case. She continues by saying that you chased the young woman out of New York just like you attempted to chase Wendy Williams out of New York, and that he tried to chase the lawyer and even Wendy Williams out of the city. He better not try to go after the lawyer who walked in on Diddy because she was under Jaguar's protection, and I've kept her secret all these years, Wright said, insisting that Diddy had used his power to force men into degrading acts to prove how powerful he was. Wright isn't afraid to speak her mind and said he better not try to come after the lawyer who walked in on Diddy. Jaguar continued to yell at Diddy, saying he needs to make amends to everyone who has ever signed with Bad Boy Records because there's a chance he may have abused them all. Jaguar said these accusations are completely bonkers, but if true, they will be the end of Diddy. You need to make amends to everyone you have ever abused. You need to make up with everyone who ever signed a contract with Bad Boy. She even contacted Diddy a punk and allegedly accused him of using his own plane to transport kids around in order to engage in sexual harassment of them. Anyone scared of you when you're nothing but a punk, along with all the young boys and girls you put on airplanes, flying about to harass them sexually? Jaguar continued his diatribe, and Christopher Williams responded in a very odd way that nearly gave the impression that Jaguar was fabricating things. The world was speechless after Christopher Wallace or Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur were killed. 20 years later, a former LAPD investigator thinks rapper and record producer Shart Diddy Combs is responsible for the tragic incidents. Former detective Greg Kading claims in a new documentary that Combs paid Crips gang member Dwayne Keefe D. Davis $1 million to kill Shakur and his then manager Marion Yu Suge Knight. Kading claims that over 6 months after the drive-by shooting that killed Tupac, Knight, who was unharmed, reacted by paying Bloods gang member Wardell Poochie Foose $13,000 to assassinate Wallace. The Grammy-winning performer, who has had numerous run-ins with the authorities, is once again having his past scrutinized by the public as a result of these most recent charges. Diddy, who was raised in Mount Vernon, New York, put in a lot of effort to succeed. But the 46-year-old has run into some legal issues along the road, with accusations brought against the entrepreneur after a number of high-profile, extremely violent episodes. Diddy also discovered himself in the midst of the principal hip-hop conflict between the East Coast and the West Coast. Diddy has gained recognition for his charity, including his substantial donations to a number of nonprofits despite his legal issues. In truth, after severely hitting Nas manager and Interscope Records executive Steve Stout in 1997, Combs was charged with assault. Apparently, a disagreement about the release of a music video was what sparked the attack. Prosecutors claimed that Diddy and his two companions pummeled Stout at the time of the assault, hitting him with a champagne bottle and a phone in the process. Lopez's accusations were withdrawn, and Diddy ultimately received a not guilty verdict. Diddy was detained by Miami Beach police by driving with a suspended license a month after he was cleared of charges related to the possession of firearms. He signed a promise to show up in court and was freed 20 minutes later. After reportedly ordering his bodyguards to violently remove a hip-hop promoter from a New York nightclub, Diddy was hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit in 2007. The man allegedly had multiple injuries as a result. Not many people would have believed it, but when you take into account how many people have doubts about Diddy and the way he behaves and how much controversy surrounds him behind the scenes, it becomes pretty difficult to deny that there's something fishy going on with him. What we've discussed so far isn't even the worst part. It now appears that the game rumors are soon going to be the least of his concerns. The henchman Jimmy federal agents questioned Roseman, a former music manager turned cocaine kingpin, in 2013. Diddy's sexual orientation and whether or not he had ever hooked up with young guys to Roseman's knowledge were two questions that were specifically asked of him. According to a 2017 case filed in Lab County Superior Court, an investor abruptly referenced various rap stars and questioned Roseman about their sexual exploits. But the former CEO of Coke ordered no context for the questions and seemed to hint that it came out of nowhere. Moreover, Diddy's former cook said she was falsely accused of theft and fired for raising concerns about sexual harassment and unpaid overtime. Sean Combs was sued by Cindy Rudis, among other things, for intentional infliction of mental distress and defamation, as well as for harassment and retaliation. The cook claimed that since starting in 2015, she has been often requested to prepare meals for her boss and his visitors right after engaging in sexual behavior. Rudy claims that she served Combs a post-coital lunch while he was naked and that he asked her if she admired his body. She also alleges that one of his buddies entered the kitchen while he was naked and asked her to appreciate his genitalia. According to the complaint, Iris Cohn's executive cleaner frequently salvaged discarded items in the house and gave Ruda a watch she claimed she found in the garbage that was taken by the chef in the days after plaintiff was accused of theft and informed that she would no longer be employed after complaining repeatedly about her working conditions. It's important to note that Diddy's team at first viewed the lawsuit as a challenge, at least in their public statements, but eventually, and perhaps oddly enough, ended up settling the suit out of the court to keep it from becoming public knowledge. Usually that means that one party is hella guilty, and given Diddy's history, we're more likely to believe it was him. Of course, there are a lot of subsisting rumors and controversy revolving around Diddy. Let us know in the comments what you think about him. And that is it for today's video. See you in the next one!